Hey folks, it's Chad here, Airstream in Greensboro, a Blue Compass company, and behind me I have the all-new 2025 Tradewinds 23 front bed, twin bed model, the one you should buy. Let's get into a walk around of the inside, the outside, the top, and the bottom now. So an important question with the 23 is some of the specs, things like how much it weighs. So I'm going to start with some of the specifications for the 2025 Tradewinds. Laura's going to give you a little bit of the outside view as we discuss it. Now the exterior length on the 23 is actually 23 feet 11 inches, so almost 24 feet. Now this is going to be an 8 foot wide body, so it's a little bit smaller than the 25 foot, which is 8 foot 5.5 inches. Now your exterior height on the 23 is actually slightly shorter than the 25. It's going to come in at 9 feet 10.5 inches. Now the hitch weight on the 23 foot, it's just 600 pounds, and your unloaded weight, it's going to be 5,650 pounds. And then your GVWR on the 23 foot is going to be 6,300 pounds, which gives you a carrying capacity of 725 pounds. Now the tanks on this are 37, 37, and 17, and then of course we'll talk about all the other great stuff later. So we're going to do the inside first because that's what most people want to see when it comes to the Tradewinds. Now there is a lot of stuff on this camper on the outside that we're going to show you, and I want to start by talking about the door. So this does have the new door handle that actually started with the 2025 or 2024 Tradewind 25 foot. It's now on all of the floor plans, so everything. All the models have this new door latch. Hopefully it won't lock people out. I think it's going to be a good one. You have these really nice red like levers that really do work. Now something I like to talk about with Airstream doors, it takes them about 8 hours to build this door. The other thing we don't say a lot is it takes Airstream about 300 hours to build an Airstream. And the reason that's important is when you look at some of the other brands out there, it takes them somewhere around 24 to 30 hours to build a complete unit, where Airstream is going to take them about 300 hours. And they also use, on average, 3,000 rivets when they're building an Airstream. So there's a lot of craftsmanship that goes into crafting an Airstream. It's not just something that they throw together, if that makes sense. So Laura's going to go on inside. And this is the 23 front bed. It's going to be basically the same floor plan as the Flying Cloud 23, the International 23. Well, that's the other two. So now we have 23 front beds. This is in the terracotta option for colors. Now, when you choose a color with the Tradewind, the only thing that's really going to change is the cushion colors. Everything else is the same. They also have fieldstone, which is going to be a gray. I will tell you, the terracotta I think is awesome. But it's also one of those colors that in 10 years may look old. The fieldstone in that gray is probably going to be a little bit more timeless, meaning that as it ages, it will probably age a little bit better. But right now, the terracotta looks pretty stinking cool. So we have in the 23 foot, the U-shaped dinette. So this is one of the signature pieces for the 23 front bed floor plan. It's a short floor plan, it's a skinny floor plan, but you're going to have the U-shaped dinette. Now as far as space goes, it's the same dinette as all of the other ones as far as U-shape goes. Now you can move it, so we can slide it out, and that's as far in as it will go. You can also turn it, which would probably be a little bit better if you turned it and did dinner kind of this way. But the idea is this would be for two people. You'd have somebody here, someone there, and then you could fit someone in this little U-shaped part here. So you could put someone here, but think, legs are going to be hitting. So this is a dinette that Airstream uses on these skinnier floor plans where they need to get a dinette in, but they don't necessarily have the depth to do that. That's the U-shaped dinette. Now this does go into a bed as well. Should I make it into a bed?
Yes.
Laura says yes. Laura's on the camera if you haven't figured that out yet already. All right, so let me lock it back in place. Take these up. Now, as I'm doing this, I'll give you some other specs for the Tradewin. So this 23 foot is essentially the same setup as the 25 foot, except for one thing. Do you know what that is, Laura?
I, full disclosure, was only half listening to what you just said, so I don't know what the question was. If you want to ask it again, I can try to answer.
There's only one thing different about the setup for the 23 foot versus the 25 foot.
The length?
Well, that is, yeah, yes. But as far as the power equipment, so.
Oh, okay, the power equipment. I have no clue.
So the Tradewind is a boondocking system setup. It's the Harvest Host floor plan where you can take it anywhere and you've got power wherever you are. And for instance, right now, Laura and I, ooh, that fits really well.
That fits better than some of the other ones. The
Flying Cloud, yeah. Maybe I do that. Maybe I've been doing it wrong, and I just did it right by accident. Yeah, probably. Anyway, so this is a stiff cushion. So 76 inches deep. I don't remember what the width is. I can look it up. It's on my phone. 39 by 76. So that is the U-shaped dinette made into a bed. Now you could also make this like a chaise lounge. You know, put your pillows around and pull the TV around and kind of have a spot to lay. I think most people are probably going to keep it as a dinette. And then occasionally.
You never finished your thought about what's new.
So
what's different?
So what's new? I got distracted by what I was doing. So what's going to be different is with a 23 foot length, there's just not as much surface space in the roof. So it's going to have 500 watts of solar instead of 600. So it's just one panel short of what the 25 foot has, but everything else is the same, which we'll talk about more in a second. And stick around because we are going to show you where all the electronics are, and we're going to show you the roof. So make sure you watch the whole video or skip to that part if that's just what you want to see. Alright, and then bring it back. I like the bigger single leg on this one because it makes it a little bit less like flimsy.
It also seems way easier to get up and down than like our dinette in the 25 foot Flying Cloud. You've got to kind of finagle down.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Get out of the little latch things.
Nope, that's not.
Now this is like a puzzle for Chad. See if we can get the cushions in the right spot.
Yeah. And then that goes, because they put these like diagonal chamfer edges on the back of the cushion, I guess, to make it easier to get to the door. So I put that anyway. Down in its back. Okay, now for storage, there isn't any storage under this dinette piece here, and there's not any storage in the front side of that bed there because that's where all the electronics are for the Victron system, which we'll show you in a second. Now I think there is some storage. Yeah, there's still storage there. And no, I didn't notice that there wasn't any storage under that. So there's no storage back there. So just here.
And lockers.
Well, yeah, you got the lockers. I was just talking about under the dinette.
Oh, okay.
So of course you have the lockers up here. And then with it being a Tradewind, you have these locking latches that you don't get on anything else, which I really like. And it actually will latch when it pulls shut. This is going to have the JL audio system. And one of the things I like about the 23 foot is where the speakers are. They are up in the ceiling. Now I would like to, I mean, it would be nice if they'd spread these out. You know, had to like one down there, but still, at least it's not like blowing straight down to your head or like down here blowing straight down to the dinette. The JL audio system is a great sounding system. There's a subwoofer on the back side of the dinette over there, and we'll show you that in a little bit once we take that up. Now swing around to the kitchen because I think we've showed everything on the dinette. Did you show them the hooks here?
I did not. Did you want to show them anything in there?
Oh yeah, I need to show them there. But we got these hanging hooks here, and they match them here.
Hooks there.
And you have
a whiteboard.
that has a very important message on it.
Like and subscribe. I should have written that.
You should have written that, yeah. So the USB that's right here is going to go to the back of the radio. Then you've got your Cat 6 input that go. Oh wait, no, that's HDMI. You got your HDMI that goes to your TV. Your Cat 6 RJ45 that's going to the outside, and we'll show you on the outside where that's at. And then this is just the power for your HD antenna, so you can turn that on and off. They just moved it up here to make it a little bit easier to get to. And there is power, for some reason, all the way in the center of this cabinet. So if you wanted to add something like a Roku up here or an Apple TV, you have somewhere to plug it in. And you'll notice that that plug is not labeled inverted circuit like all the other campers, and that's because this is a whole house inverted camper. And we are currently running it on the inverter. So we're not plugged in, the AC is running, we've got all the lights on, and we're going to show you what that looks like here in a second. What was your thought?
Is that in the corner?
Just access to the back of this.
Oh, okay. It's not the, I'm forgetting what it's called, the...
Air connected?
Yes.
That's up there.
Okay, I remember you saying it's always in the front.
It's always in the front.
Left, so I didn't think it was there, but wanted to ask.
So on your kitchen in the 23 foot, and don't mind the drill, that's just for later. The 23 is going to have a little bit smaller kitchen, but I really think this is actually more counter space than our 25. So I wouldn't say you're necessarily sacrificing at least counter space. You are going to sacrifice door storage a little bit, because you just have these openings, like these doors that open. You've got the trash can right there, and there is a good bit of storage underneath the sink here. You've got a pull out here that's going to give you the silverware organizer, and then you got another small drawer for, you know, knives or some utensils.
Whatever you want to put in there.
Not very deep. I would probably do one of those magnet knife things like right here, to kind of add things. And then we're also going to have the pull out pantry. It's the same pantry that we get on the 25 foot. And then you have what I like to call your cereal box storage right there. And there's an exciting new thing that you're going to get really excited about, I think. I'll show you in a second. So we've got storage above, and we've got some bags up here that doesn't come with it. Lots of storage above, and there's no lights in this floor plan. There's no mirrors in this floor plan as far as the trade winds, but we do get the soft close that you also get on the Flying Cloud and the Classic.
And those latches are
every single compartment or every single locker door has the latches. We get the 3-burner stovetop. It's the Furrion. It does have the little backlights, and then this one has the convection microwave, which is an option. You can also do just an oven, and if you only did the propane oven, you would not have a microwave. So it's one or the other. Now, as far as options on this, there's no hatch option because it's a rear bathroom, but you do still have the composting toilet option, the window awnings, the convection microwave. I think that's it, and then colors. Yeah, there's not a ton of options on this one. Now this does have a different refrigerator, and Laura and I are going to switch sizes. Novacool is the brand. So this is like the one that's on the 25 foot Globetrotter that Laura and I was just looking at. Now I did try out earlier. There's not like a power switch up here anywhere, but there is a temperature dial with a 0, and I have determined that if you turn it to 0, it does turn this off. So there is a way to turn this off when you don't need it, because when you're boondocking, sometimes that's something that you want to be able to do. And it does have the little travel locks that open. And you know, with this bottom one, I think the whole thing is a freezer. It may just be this section here is the freezer, and then this down here is just more refrigerator space, but I think the whole thing is a freezer with the Novacool. If you know for sure, like you have this one, you know how it works, leave that in the comments so that we'll know. There is a little storage underneath the microwave there.
Fairly deep.
Deeper than most.
Deeper than ours, yeah.
So here is the one that...
How deep it is?
Look at this.
I already looked.
Did you? You saw. It goes all the way back.
A ton of space.
So there is a vent up here. I think what they've done to give the back of the refrigerator a little bit of a breathing space, they added this curved piece of aluminum here, and then it chases up to here, so the back of the refrigerator can breathe. Now it's not a propane where it needs like actual ventilation. This is a 12-volt refrigerator with a compressor, but it still needs to be able to breathe back there. to do its work. And I guess that's why Airstream normally gives us a small storage area up here, because you got to give it room. But that's kind of the old style, because the propane fridge like what we have, you need that space. You don't need it with this. So it's nice to see them do that, at least on the 23-foot trade winds. Hopefully that will continue with all the other floor plans. And then you're gonna have one of your two pantries right here. Pantry. This would be a wardrobe.
I mean, you could put food in here.
You could.
There's really no rules.
There's no rules. Large wardrobe, like
really
huge.
big.
Lots of storage above, and then you also get, while we're talking about wardrobes, on the 25-foot twin bed, you get this one here. And if you do the queen bed, you still get a small wardrobe here, and I'm guessing drawers, but maybe not with the trade wind setup here, because we've got some vents here for the battery system, which we'll show you in a second. Now let's continue on into the bedroom.
Can we show this real fast? You got a little shelf right here.
Well, we got a little shelf. We'll talk about this in a second. We do have a little storage shelf, which is nice right there.
No USBs though, like in the Globetrotter.
Nice. There's a USB there. The only USBs in this one's going to probably be beside the beds, because that tends to be the Flying Cloud and the well, basically everything but the Globetrotter. So this is a twin bed option. I really am a firm believer on the 23-foot and the 25-foot floor plans that the twin bed is, you know, the better option. I wouldn't say it's the right or the wrong. So it's all going to come down to your camping style, what's going to fit your camping life, whether you do queen bed or twin bed. But I do like that the twin bed gives you this big aisle. You can actually use the space. You could even have people sit back here and entertain if you have people inside of your 23-foot coach. And this is a very short and nimble RV, and it has that 6 inch. Wow, could you imagine a 6-inch lift? It has the 3-inch lift kit on it already from the factory, and the 16-inch tire. So you have really a total of 4 inches of a lift. So you can take this anywhere. The twin bed really gives you a nice open space. Now, they did upgrade the mattresses in 2024, and it is now a very comfortable 4-layer foam. I could take a nap. Now, the speakers are for the bedroom. They're right above, right there. We do have a reading light right there. Speaker reading light. And there is the USBs. So you get USB type A and type C. And we've got the single power port here in the middle. We are going to have an opening that does have a latch on it, which I really like, because I do have people regularly with this drawer flying out on other floor plans, because when you take off, everything in this drawer is going to push back. And then we also have that same USB on the other side. So you really have 4 USB outlets in this area, and then you've got the single port there in the middle. And because it's a trade wind, that is an inverted circuit, because all of these circuits are inverted. So if you need to use anything at night, you can actually use that as well.
The drawer is so skinny.
Well, yeah, the 23s are, because remember it's 8 foot.
I know, but there's a lot of room on either side.
Well, we'll tell Airstream to fix it. You got to have room to buy your extensions for the bed. And they should also do that at the factory. Now, we do have storage on the twin bed underneath. You're basically splitting your storage underneath the bed with the outside and the inside. You get these drawers that are not, oh look, they're skinny. And they actually fit in there. Usually, like on the 25 and the 27, when we do the twin, they don't fit. They do fit on the, they actually they could stand to be a little bit bigger, fill that space up more. And then on this side, we're gonna get a small one, and then another big one with a tote. Or would this be a tote or?
A latch storage bin.
It's a latch storage bin.
Is what it says.
Remember, when you buy an Airstream, you're also going to buy the most expensive totes that you ever buy in your life. Now, generally, there's a power box there on like the 25s and things. This is actually going to be access to your power system. That's going to be your battery disconnect. Now, this is the manual one. It still has the push button in the front. If you ever do use this one for any reason, you need to push it down first and then turn it. You can actually strip the gears in this and break it. So you want to be careful turning this one. If you can use the one, the powered one up front, use that one as much as you can. And then the charge limit, this was new for kind of a mid-year update for Airstream on the trade wind. They added this to the 25, And of course, it's now going to be in the 23. And what this will do, it limits the input that the inverter charger is allowed to pull in from the outside circuit. Now, right now it's set on 30. So if we plugged it into a 30 amp, it's going to try to pull 30 amps. Like, it's going to do its best to pull 30 amps. If we flip that switch down to 10 amps, it's going to regulate the inverter down to 10 amps, which would allow you to plug it into a household outlet and then charge your batteries off of 10 amps and prevent overloading the circuit. I thought you had a question. Nope. Okay. All right. Let's show the bathroom.
Let's show this privacy curtain that has been in our way.
Yeah, it's kind of in the way. There we go. We do have privacy curtain. I like this. I like this
beautiful
two-tone design that they do on the Tradewind. So you can pull that all the way across and get some privacy. Now, with it being the 23, you've got the bedroom on one side and the bathroom on the other side. So this isn't the case like with the 25 where you can pull this across and kind of have an ensuite. But if you have somebody sleeping in here at night and you want to have some privacy, you can use the curtain for that.
Did you show the lockers?
Did I show the lockers? We have lockers up here. So that little black hole there is what Laura was asking about earlier. The Air Connected system, Airstream Connected, which is their LTE hotspot / Wi-Fi repeater that you can get through Airstream. The pre-wired cable is in this area back here. It's just kind of not Velcroed, but zip tied up in there. We usually have to drop a speaker to get to it.
And we've got the bezel-less.
The new
TV.
bezel-less. No, that thing won't stay on there. But it's the new Connex bezel-less TV, smart TV now with YouTube, Prime TV, all of that kind of stuff. Basically, all the apps that you could use is on that. And then this does swing around, so it gives you the ability to bring it all the way around and look at the dinette. Look at that. You can come all the way out there. So you can watch this while you're sitting at the dinette. Oh, I turned it on. Hey, you can see the bezel-less of it. Turn it on by accident. There is a new remote that's actually like very modern. It looks like a Roku remote versus like the remote that looked like it was from the 90s. And then you can bring this back and put it back into the bedroom area. Yeah, everything. Okay, now let's talk about windows real quick. In the 23, as far as windows that can open, you've got an emergency exit window here. You can still open this window. You can use it just as normal, but it gives you an easy pull, so you can pull that out, get the screen out, and jump out if you need to. This window here will also open, and then under that you have the really cool port window to give you more light. And then in your panoramic area, the center window will open. Now this is the only window that you want to open the outside solar guard first, and then you can open the inside window. But you've got a max air fan right above us. If you turn that on, you're going to get a really good breeze, and Laura and I know that for sure because we experienced it at the Wyndham when we were doing a video. You had a nice breeze coming in.
Yeah, we opened both side windows and had the vents
in the front window and had the fan going. It
got pretty cool.
It was awesome. And then there is another vent that's going to be near the bathroom and the kitchen area, and it's going to act as both your bathroom vent and your kitchen vent, which is quite nice. And then the one up here, you saw it in the video, it does have a shade, so you can close that off when you're sleeping. The front one does not. You've got the AC. This is the new Quiet Stream. They should call it Quiet Stream 2.0. But they updated this for 2024. It has a MERV 8 filter now in there. And then a second black filter that you can wash, and then the other one you would replace it. This is going to run about 20% quieter than your traditional AC unit that just drops into the camper. Even when it's ducted, this is still going to be quieter. And then of course it's quite a bit quieter than when it doesn't have the ducted system. Now the 23 foot is known for its bathroom. So this is the rear bath in this front bed. So they could almost call this a RB for rear bath, but that would make the rest of the names confusing. So we do have a slightly higher toilet than what a normal floor plan would have because the black tank is down there. They did lower the black tank for 25, but you're still sitting up a little bit. We do have some storage right there on both sides, and then there's a little cubby down there. And your toilet paper holder is in the best location possible, right there. And then we've got some storage underneath the surface mounted sink. Now one of the things I do like about the 25 is you have a lot of counter space right here. You have a nice round sink that's in a good location, a big window, but that big window does mean that you don't get a nice mirror here. But we do have the mirror that's a magnification, 5 times magnified, and then kind of a regular mirror. You can aim that however you want to. Right there, and then, let's see, I'm gonna get in and I'll shut the door. And this is legitimately one of the largest showers outside of, say, the 33-foot Classic. There's so much room in here, and there's nothing in the way of your feet to be able to stand. I would love to have this shower in a 25 or a 28-foot. There is a bench, so if you're really tall and need to sit down, you can do that. I guess you can also shave your legs, things like that, if you want to do that. It does have the shower head that you can move around, and it has the curtain that goes across. That's
Clothesline.
Clothesline. Yeah, where is these words coming from? Clothesline. If y'all want to know why Laura's a part of the videos now, it's just to correct when I say something completely wrong.
That's it. I bring nothing else to the table.
No, you bring a lot. You have a soap storage down there. You have a little storage above the faucet here. And that's about it.
And you do have that seat in the back like Chad said, but you still have room. It's open underneath. So.
But there's so much room for your feet.
So much room. I want the shower in ours.
Yeah, love the shower. Now, it's a corner shower, and that's part of why it's so big. And it does have the lock there for the travel lock. And there is a knob on the inside, so your spouse can't lock you into the shower. Whew.
Do you want to talk about these, or are you going to come back later?
Oh, yeah.
Sea level?
So we have sea level 2 monitors. They'll give you, the battery voltage, which is, you're going to want to use the screen up front that we're going to show you here in a second. You got fresh gray, black, and you can turn the water pump on. Now with 2024.5, they added the silencer module to the water pump, so it should run much quieter, and of course that continues in 2025. And then this is going to have the Suburban water heater that has the recirculation pump built into it. And right there's the button that turns that on. Now I did notice on the Globetrotter, I was thinking maybe that was a new controller that they were using for 25, because it's got a really cool, like, modern looking controller for its Suburban. But I guess that's just for the Globetrotter, because Globetrotter's a few steps up to make it, to elevate that experience a little bit. But you can turn this system on and not have the circulation pump turned on, and that will just be instant hot water heater, just like you're used to with the Girard that's in most of the other floor plans. If you turn the recirculation pump on, what that's going to do is it's actually going to circulate hot water using the little pump that's in a water heater all throughout the whole RV. So when you turn the shower spigot on over here, you're going to get truly instant hot water. Within a second, you're going to have hot water, which means you're going to waste less water when you're boondocking, because this is the boondocking Airstream with all the batteries and everything that comes with it. So you also get the really cool Suburban recirculation pump, which is also now in the Globetrotter for 2025 model year. And we get a towel holder here, not a curtain. Almost a shower curtain. Like, I need to take a nap. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the power system that's in the Tradewinds, and that is that's the reason you're going to buy this unit versus, say, the Flying Cloud or the International, other than the fact that this is a very cool looking unit with the wooden laminate. Absolutely love it. And there is a little bit of texture to that as well. And the terracotta, like, all of that's great. The biggest reason you're going to buy a Tradewind is for the battery system and the solar. So this is going to have 810 amp hours of lithium batteries. It's 3 GC3 Game Changer Battleborn batteries, and we can throw some video in from the 25 we dropped the pan. I'm not going to do that on this one because it's going to be the same. We are going to show you the inverter and its location, but we're not going to drop the batteries. We'll just show you the 25. So 810 amp hours of batteries. It has 500 watts of solar on top, and those are the Marlin Flex panels. And then it's going to have a 3,000 watt Victron Multi-Plus 2 inverter with a large MPPT solar charge controller and the Victron Servo, which gives you the touch screen here. Now Laura is going to hold the camera as steady as possible, because it's like the hardest thing in the world to do when you're filming something that's straight. So this screen here is going to give you all of the information you need to know about your battery power system on the Tradewinds, and right beside it is going to be your battery heat. So these GC3s do have the internal heater pads, and you do have an on-off switch to be able to turn that on and off. And the reason you want to be able to turn it on and off is when you don't need it, you want to turn that off because it does use some energy out of your batteries just to give you the option to be able to turn that on. So like today, it's probably 90 degrees outside now. We've got that turned off because it doesn't need to be turned on. Now the red box here, that's going to give you your shore power input. So if you've got the big 30 amp power cable plugged in, it's going to show you what's coming in, and that is going to fluctuate. You may see 50 watts coming in or 2,000 watts coming in. It's all going to depend on the demand that the unit is calling for at that time. If there's no demand, there's nowhere for those little electrons to go, so that's going to show a low number, or it may show a high number if it needs a lot. Now the center blue box is going to tell you what your inverter is doing, and right now it's inverting because we are running the AC and we've got the inverter turned on. The green box is going to show you your AC load. That is going to be however much AC alternating current power that you're using. In this case, we're using 1300 watts because we have the AC unit turned on, and the majority of that, probably near 1,000 watts, is going to be just the AC load of the air conditioner. Now the little kind of bluish green box here, that's going to be your battery indicator. So we can see the state of charge there. We can also see how many watts are being pulled out of the battery or how many watts are being put into the battery. And it's also going to give you a voltage as well. And then we've got a box here in the middle, that's the DC power load. Now currently from the factory, they do not turn that function on. I don't know why. I've asked the factory why they don't turn it on. I haven't gotten the answer yet, but I can show you real quick how to turn that on. You're just going to click menu. You're going to click settings and then system setup. Scroll up till you see it has DC system, and you're going to flip that toggle switch on. And once you flip that toggle switch on, you'll start to see the DC power draw. The nice thing about that and why you want that to be turned on is it shows you what your DC power draw is. And if you're in a boondocking situation where you're not going to use the air conditioner, but you still want to manage how much DC power you're pulling out of the battery to be able to prolong the time that you're able to draw. Now, when we turned on the RV this morning, the battery was at 100%. At about 10:20, I turned on the AC, the air conditioner. The air conditioner started running. It has been running nonstop since 10:20. It's currently 11:41, and we have used, what's that, 19%. Thank you. I'm in sales because I am not a mathematician. So 19%. So to give you a little bit of an idea of what the draw is going to be, in the 25 foot when it came out last year, I did a really long video. We called it the technical review. If you want to see in-depth of all of the systems and how they work, that's a good video to watch, and we can link it above. In that video, I ran the system for 4 hours on the heat pump, and it used, I think, 41 or 42% of the battery during that time frame. And then you're going to see the PV charger, which is the yellow one, and that is, I don't know why PV is the word they use, but that's your solar input. So right now, we're adding to the 1,200 watts or 1,300 watts that's being drawn from the AC. 300 watts of that is actually solar generation, which is really nice because it's offsetting the amount that's coming out of the battery, which is 1,500 watts is coming out of the battery, but we're putting 300 watts back into the battery with the solar. Now if you swipe over, this is just going to give you a different view of the same information, and then you can swipe over and see your DC power draw right there. And if you tap on the screen, let me bring it back over. If you tap on the screen, it's going to bring up these categories down at the bottom. Pages is this screen that you're seeing now. And the menu is going to take you into the 3 different devices that we have that makes up this system. So the first thing is going to be your charger. So this is your MPPT 100x50 solar charge controller, and it will give you information about it. Don't change any settings in here, just look at it. You've got your Multiplus 2. That's going to show you what the Multiplus is doing. There is a setting in here that you're going to adjust occasionally, and that's the switch here. Now generally speaking, you're just going to either be on or off. Now if you are in a situation where you just want to charge the batteries but you don't want to invert, and where that might be the case is if you're plugged into a 10 amp circuit and you want to charge your batteries but you don't want the system to try to assist that 10 amps to give you enough power to run the AC, that's the case where you would put it as charger only, and then the system won't try to invert and run the AC at the same time. And that's called assisting. What that basically does, it allows you to run off a lower circuit, so say 10 amps in this case, and then use battery power to make up the remaining portion that you need as far as watts to run the AC. So it will use both incoming power from shore and battery power to give you enough power to run the AC, but you're also going to not be charging your batteries at all because you're going to be using all of that incoming 10 amps to run the AC. And then on, the system is going to do whatever it thinks it needs to do. If it needs to invert to give you power for the air conditioner to run, it's going to invert. If it gets shore power and needs to start charging the battery, it's going to start charging the battery. And then off is obviously, don't do that. Well, okay, I turned it off by accident. Turn it back on. You see how quick that is, and you'll actually hear the inverter itself switching when that stuff happens. But if you hit off, it's going to turn the system off just as it did. And then it does give you some information here if you just want to look at that. But really, the only thing you're ever going to need to do is to adjust that switch there, turning it on and off. And then the next thing, it's going to be the smart shunt. The smart shunt is going to show you all of your battery information, so your state of charge, the volts that are remaining, and the amount of amps that are being drawn from it. And then you've got notifications and settings. That's really all you need to know about the system as far as pages is the one I want to click. As far as what you would actually turn it off. Now let's show the power system real quick. Let's see. Laura's going to probably have to cut this up a little bit because I don't know if you just want to see me taking the dinette apart again. Ooh.
Nice sound effects.
Okay, so in this section here, you're going to have your inverter, and there is a little door that comes off in the event that you need to address something in that area. There's also another little door that comes off back here. This is a little bit harder to bring off. And that is going to show your breakers, and we'll get into what that stuff is in a second. And then there's also another access area that has screws in it because they don't want you going in here unless you need to. And that comes up there. Put this back here. That was it. That's the whole reason for the drill, was just those two screws. So I'm going to grab the camera now and start talking about some of the things that we're going to see, and Laura's going to be really bored in the background. Okay, so we got our Multi-Plus 2 3000 watt inverter. Now this is going to be the out of the internal fans. So it's going to be blowing heat this direction towards that vent that's on that side there. You've got your Victron Servo. Now the Victron Servo, this is the device that's actually talking to all of your individual devices and giving you information on that screen. The screen is also plugged into this as well with HDMI and a USB cable, and then each of your individual devices. So there's two little black cables, plug-ins right there. So the big one in the middle is going to be the HDMI. Those two there are what's plugged into your smart shunt and your MPPT solar charge controller. And then this guy here is what's communicating all that information that we saw on the screen. Now, one of the things I really like that Airstream did, that yellow RJ45, or that's not yellow, that's red, RJ45 cable that you see there, that's actually plugged in to the communication line of the Victron Multi-Plus. That allows a service technician to be able to easily plug in to this inverter and make adjustments on it or do updates as they need to without having to try to plug in back there, because it would not be easy. Right here, we're going to have, well, that's the wheel well right there. So now you can see the backside of the inverter. I do like when, if you need to bring, see what the inverter is doing, you've got this panel on top. And it tells you what's happening. So right now it's inverting. If it's floating, absorbing bulk charge, all that kind of stuff, is going to show you low temp, temperature, low battery, overload. That's going to show you that. So if you need to see in an easy way, you can take this door off and see that. Now back here, we're going to have the MPPT solar charge controller. It is not the Bluetooth version of it, but you do have the ability to see it and control it through the servo. And then back there, you're going to have your smart shunt, and then your various other wiring deals for the system. There's a common connection there for grounds, and then there's also your power distribution kind of towards the front. There's a fan right there to help blow air around, and that's connected to a diode that is on the front of the inverter, right there. You see it there. So that's just a thermometer, and it will turn that fan on once it gets to a certain temperature to try to move air around. Now let me back up a little bit. Now, we're in the back side of the system. So this is a custom board for the 23 foot. It's not the same as the 25, and they just do the 25 in here. It is a different board. And it looks like they're building this board separate and then bringing it in and installing it into the camper. There's screws there, so screwed down into the floor. You've got your breakers here. That's going to be your 24-hour power. So things like the power ton jack, that type of stuff, your propane detectors, all going to pull off of that. You've got your solar disconnect, which I love that we have a solar disconnect now. You just hit that blue button and it will disconnect. And then this is going to be your 12-volt DC power distribution box. So there's a box probably towards the front of the camper on the campsite side, and that's all of your 12-volt systems that are part of the RV's system. There's a disconnect to be able to turn that system off. If you need to work on it, you can completely disconnect it from the battery. Now this big Anderson connector here, that is the batteries themselves. And that's a big thing that you can disconnect the batteries in the event that you need to. There's an emergency or something, you can basically unplug those. But you also have the regular battery disconnect that's going to do pretty much the same thing. You can kind of see the smart shunt right there. That is the Victron smart shunt. And then there's another little 12-volt DC distribution. Now, one of the things I will tell you, and you guys, if you've been watching my videos, you know I tend to just kind of call it like it is. Airstream is not known for doing its great, like super clean, neat wiring. They are a manufacturing facility, and time is money, and they just get stuff done. And that is what you're seeing here. Now, it's sufficient. It will do the job, but it's not pretty. You also have your subwoofer back there as well. Hey, that's going to move some air. And that's the whole power distribution system that makes up the 23-foot Tradewind. So we're on the outside now. We've got the Tradewinds. Remember, this does have the 3-inch lift from the factory. Something else I didn't mention that just popped in my mind for you to know. I'll talk about it up top, but it does have the soft start from the factory. Only the Tradewind gets the soft start from the factory. This is the 23 twin bed. So we are going to have some extra storage. You'll have the storage compartment here on the front side, which is great. And this is a 25, so it does have that extra bracing in the front to help mitigate any front end issues. We also have a storage compartment here where the batteries will normally go, and that's because the batteries are in the back, and we'll show you where those are located. Now up here you're going to have your 2 30-pound propane tanks. We also have the 3,500-pound power ton jack, which is great. And then the Demco latching system, very cool system. You don't need a pin. Once it's latched in place, it can't open. And then even though the batteries are way in the back, we do still have the extra solar input if you want to use an outside solar suitcase. Now it doesn't connect to the solar charge controller, so you'll need to have, a charge controller on that solar, those solar panels.
And then you've got the propane quick disconnect.
Right there. Now on the front side, you're going to notice this white here. That's not factory. This is just a sticker that they leave on it to protect it as it comes from the factory. We usually will take this off before you pick it up. Stainless steel rock guards here. Everything else is going to be aluminum, and it is Alcoa aluminum. And this aluminum also now has a clear coat on it, and they've been doing that for a really long time. But there's actually a clear coat on this to help protect the metal from all of that kind of stuff. And that's what you're really protecting when you put things like waxes or the womanizer stuff on it. You do have solar guards up here that are standard. These outer ones do open if you want to pull out some screws here. Take those screws that are on each one, and then this can open, and that's just for cleaning. And you do want to be careful. Don't let those things swing open because it will dent the metal on the outer sides. And then you got the center solar guard. This is the one that you're going to open that will allow you to open that inside window there. Now coming around to the front, this is a Tradewind. So it's all about ruggedness and off-road. So it's going to come with the manual Zipty awning, which is really easy to use once you get used to it. I don't really even think about it now after doing it a few hundred times. And then we're going to have a little bit more storage that's going to be under one of those twin beds there. Looks like a Cheerio in there. I don't think that's what that is. And then of course the really cool Tradewind logo. The Tradewind isn't a new name. It's a name that's been around for quite some time. Airstream just decided to bring it back as the off-road boondocking camper. And then we've got 110 power that is on the inverted circuit. This is the only camper currently that has outside power that you can use even when you're boondocking. And then we're going to have the Goodyear Wrangler Workhorse AT tires. These are what, where is it? LT 225 75 R16s, and then the 16-inch wheel. I absolutely love this wheel design, and I want it on my camper with these same tires. Absolutely, this is the setup I want. So cool. Now that is going to have the Dexter torsion axle. They are truly independent. Each of the 4 tires have their own, suspension system. They're not dependent on each other, and they have 3 inches of travel both down and up, so a total of 6 inches of travel, which is going to make this great for that off-road adventurous type. Now, it isn't going to be the ultimate off-road. There's other trailers out there that's like that. This is going to do a really good job, especially for a trade wind. And we do still have the damper shock. That's going to help to settle the camper a little bit quicker when you're traveling. And this will come with the never lube or no maintenance bearing. That is part of the system there. The only thing you need to do with that system is check it once a year to make sure the bearings are still good. Once they get real greasy, then you know they need to be replaced. But outside of that, you don't have to pack them every year like a traditional bearing. Now, these are also going to have the manual stabilizers, which you could easily turn into a power stabilizer with a drill adapter. And then we do have the bumper storage. Now, this camper is dirty. This is basically how it came from the factory. We just wanted to get a video made for you guys as quick as possible, so we didn't even give the detail guys enough time, or any time really, to clean it. So we've got storage there. That's going to be for wet storage. Now, with this having basically a 4-inch lift, one of the things I immediately notice is, one, that first step is a little bit of a doozy. You have to get used to it. It's higher than a normal step, but once you own this and you're using it, you'll get used to it, and you could probably add a third step that's just on the ground if you really wanted to. The other thing I noticed is the bumper is obviously 4 inches higher, so it's easier to get to this stuff that you're going to put back here. And I use this for leveling chalks, regular chalks, leveling pads. We have an extra 10-foot sewer hose back here we've actually never used, and just those kinds of things that's okay to get dirty. We do have the license plate holder. All of your marker lights are LED. They've been that way, I think, since 24 or 23. We have the bathroom window. This does have the window awning package, and that is what the color of the awning is going to look like. Kind of a marble looking fabric. You have the standard backup camera that comes with every Airstream, and then your marker lights up top. Something I don't always talk about, but I just thought about. All of your awnings are covered with aluminum wrap to help protect them from the elements, and it helps them last longer. When you don't have that, you'll have that strip of fabric that's always seen will dry rot a whole lot quicker.
And probably fade in the sun too.
And fade, yep. Now, the trade wind also has the different color gray rub rail right here. That's unique to the trade wind, and like just all of this is higher, which is kind of, I mean, it's nice. Like, you don't have to bend over as far. So you have your black and gray tank outlet here, which is, again, is higher. There is a little switch light somewhere right there that will probably end up turning itself on its own. They all do that. You've got your smart plug, 30 amp there, 20% more metal to metal contact, and significantly easier to plug in and unplug. That's our RJ45 that we saw on the inside. This is where you can connect to it on the outside. You can use that for things like Starlink, and then you got your cable input, which does anybody use that anymore? The cable input? Yeah.
I'm sure some people do.
Outside shower, both hot and cold water. This is your furnace here, the outlet for it. You've got your city inlet, your black tank flush. Now I'm gonna have Laura back up and give you a nice big shot of this side of the camper. We do also have the optional long window awning on this side. Does do a really good job of reducing the amount of heat that goes into the camper on a good hot summer day. And then the kitchen area is going to be right here. So we're going to have a vent that does vent to the outside. And we've got those two really nice portholes that's right in front of the sink. Thank you. Now, Laura will come back closer. You've got your freshwater fill. And then unique to the trade wind is another power outlet on this side. And I'm not really sure why that's something Airstream decided to do, but I love it, and it should be on every floor plan. And that is, of course, inverted. Now, you may notice there's a wet spot here, and that is because up here there's a little hose, and that hose runs all the way up to the air conditioner, and that is your condensation line. Now it will generally deal with all of the condensation liquid water that comes from the AC, but on a very hot, humid day, you may see a little bit extra that comes off the side of the camper. And then also, when you're running the heat pump produces more condensation, and it will generally run off the side as well. It just, the little pump can't keep up. But on most of your days, generally speaking, it's gonna just come right down the side and go right out the bottom on the back side, which is super nice. This is the outlet for your Suburban hot water heater. So the heater is gonna be on the inside there, and that's just all you need to see. It is different on the Globetrotter. If you want to see what that looks like, be sure to watch our Globetrotter video, and we talk about it in that video because it looks different. And then with this being a twin bed, again, we have this extra storage on the roadside, and I really like this storage. It's a great spot for your sway bars, you know, stuff that you need to hook up out here, and then, you know, to hook up to the truck. It's a great spot for all of that to go right there. And then that is going to be your sewer storage for your sewer hose. You can put probably one 15-foot hose in there, and then we can fit a 10-foot hose. Usually stretch it out a little bit so that I can reach it. And then that gets us back to the front of the camper. So, you know, all Airstreams look the same, but I do think the Tradewinds has enough unique things about it on the outside that when you see it, it is going to stick out among all of the silver campers in a campground. Laura says yes. She's shaking her head up and down, so she agrees with me. So that is the outside of the 2025 Tradewinds 23 front bed. Now I need to go get a ladder. We're going to show you the top, and then we'll show you the bottom, and then we'll finish the video with our thoughts on the 23-foot Tradewind. Okay, I'm up on the ladder so I can show you the top of the 23-foot Tradewinds. This is the first time I've seen the top, so we're seeing it for the first time together, and it is different than the 25. More so than just the fact that it's a little bit shorter. So let me flip the camera around and let's take a look. So the first thing I noticed, there's a different style center solar panel. And I don't know if that's 100 watts. I bet that's a 200 watt panel. Yeah, because, well, no, it's a 100 watt panel. Okay, so you got one, remember these are the flex panels. It's a similar panel. It's the same panel that they use on the base camp. And they do use this tape here. Now the tape is not holding it down. The tape is just kind of closing the edges off. It's actually got tape underneath the panel itself. That's what's holding the panel down ultimately. And then they kind of use that, I guess, to kind of close the sides off. You can see the power cables all running back, and then there's two 3-input panel combiners right there. So that's a 100 watt panel, just a different shape panel, because we've got 4 of these skinny ones, and then the one big one there in the middle. So you've got one right there, and another one on the other side. You got the big one there in the middle, the square, and then one beside it on the roadside. We do have the max air fan. You can add a vent cover to that one, and there's also the one there at the front which you can add a vent cover. The little saucer looking thing, that's your HD antenna. It does have a red light on it, so if you ever walk outside and see a red light glowing, it just means that thing's got power and it's turned on. And then we got the GE profile AC. Now this is the GE profile that has the soft start built into it. All of the other floor plans, so the Flying Cloud, the International, the Bambi, the Caravelle, they do not have the soft start. Neither does the Powder Barn, the Classic, or the Globetrotter. Only the Tradewinds comes with a soft start from the factory in that GE profile AC. I will say, it does seem, this is still new, this is only our second year with the GE, but it has seemed like this unit has worked really well for them, which is why for the 2025 model year, I'm guessing that they decided to give the Caravelle and the Bambi the same GE AC unit without the soft start. Only the Tradewind gets the soft start. I get asked that question at least once a week about soft starts. Only the Tradewind gets it. So that is the top of the 23-foot Tradewind. Very nice. I hadn't talked about the inner ribs yet, and I want to talk about that real quick with this being a brand new floor plan for Airstream. In 24, they updated the Flying Cloud and the International to the new automotive pressed inner ribs. So this has it, as well as now the Caravelle and the Bambi. The Tradewinds obviously got it as well. And that just means the inner ribs that make up this shell, make up the wall, they're now using automotive stamping machine. You're going to get more consistency out of it, and probably a stronger actual piece of metal inner rib there than the older kind of outgoing style, which was more handmade. That also means we have the new front and rear braces in the wall too, to give you a stronger front and a stronger rear. And that does mean also that you're able to add a hitch receiver off the back bumper. Now you have to keep the weight of that, you know, whatever you add to it has to stay below 300 pounds. As long as you're under 300 pounds, Airstream tells me you're good. If you go over 300 pounds, you're not good. So people are adding those now to be able to do things like e-bikes, that type of stuff. Now, honestly, I would recommend using the Fuma, whatever that company's called. They've also come out with a new bike rack that will allow you to put 2 e-bikes on it. I'd recommend that one over the hitch, simply because it spreads out that weight a little bit better. But if you're using the hatch, say on the 25 trade winds with a hatch, then you have to use that receiver if you want to add a bike rack. But remember, keep it under 300 pounds. All right, so I'm going to drop down below the coach and show you the underside of the trade wind. Let me spin you around, bring the camera up. There we go. So we're going to have our black and gray tanks here in the back. So the black tank is the very back one, and then your forward one is going to be the gray tank. And then center is almost always right between the 2 axles. That would be your fresh water tank. And I'm guessing with the 23 foot, the battery box is going to be on the front. So that would be, I'm guessing, your battery box right there. And then you got that storage for your sewer hose. You've got one of your heavy duty stabilizers right there. Let me swing back around here, see if I can show you one of the, yeah, there's the axles. So that's going to be your torsion system. There's no leaf springs in there. It's a square tube and then rubber cords and a smaller square tube in the middle. And that makes up the suspension. Yeah, that must be the battery box right there. And then, yeah, in between we've got the fresh water, and then you'd have your black and gray tanks here in the back. Ah, nicely done, Airstream. All right, folks, if you've made it to this point of the video, first of all, thank you for watching and for being a part of the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Now, let's talk a little bit just about the floor plan and kind of our thoughts, and I'll go first because, you know, I like to talk. I do think between the 25 trade winds and the 23 trade winds that the 23 may be the better floor plan between the two. And the reason is, one, you know, this is kind of designed to be that off-road, boondocking, harvest host type RV. Like, it's perfect for all that stuff. But it's also a little bit skinnier and it's shorter, and so it's going to be more nimble and kind of, you know, easier to tow, like easier to go places. And the AC unit isn't undersized. It's a 13.5. That's what we would put in this camper. That's what Airstream puts in the 23 foot anyway. Whereas the 25, you only get the 115K. So it's, the AC is going to work regardless of where you are. And like today, we've got it running and it's doing just fine as it should with a, you know, 90+ degree day outside. I do think just with the side, well, with a twin bed, if you make it a queen bed, then I change my mind and, you know, I'd go back to a 25. But with the twin bed, like, I think this floor plan, it works. It's not my favorite floor plan. I'd rather have the dinette in the back the way ours is with the panoramic window, but then you use the bathroom. So what are your thoughts?
Well, you just stole most of my thoughts on this camper with the bathroom location.
Oh, yeah.
The more I'm in 23s, the more they're growing on me. I think initially I didn't like them. And being in this
You've really been in the 22 mostly.
Right, I've been in the 22 Caravel. I've been in 23s, but not recently. And I like the layout, and this one gives you just a little bit more storage. You do get the pantry, you get a bigger wardrobe. I mean, lockers on both sides. There's plenty of storage in here. My biggest, oh, and the kitchen, you get more counter space than a lot of the 25s have.
You just don't have the drawers.
Yeah, but you get more counter space, which is great.
Okay.
The biggest downside for me is I love the panoramic windows on both sides of the camper. I think, you know, that's one of the hallmarks of Airstream, and it opens up your camper that much more, and having the bathroom there, you don't get the double panorama.
Is it the double panoramics, or is it that you don't have a dinette in a panoramic?
The double.
Okay.
But this bathroom
makes up for it.
Is amazing.
Oh, it is.
And so it's almost, you know, it almost cancels each other out. You don't get the panoramic windows on both sides, but you get this incredible bathroom that's one of the biggest that you're going to find in an Airstream.
An Airstream.
And we've got these windows over your campsite side,
which don't have.
Huge.
You don't have that in the 25.
You don't get those in the 25. You get big windows on the
roadside.
I'm going to say the business side.
Yeah, business side.
So, yeah, like I said, the 23 is growing on me.
I really feel like, you know, I think the trade wind makes the 23 more attractive to me than say the Flying Cloud or the International. But let me say this: we're just giving you thoughts for you to be able to use in deciding what's going to be best for you. Ultimately, you need to go to an Airstream store, whether it's this one or one nearby, and actually get inside of them, spend time in them. Tell the salesperson to walk away or to go away and come back later, and like lay down on the bed, sit on the sofa, you know, sit on the toilets, get in the shower, spend time in it, and then imagine what you, if you've never owned a camper, imagine what your camping style is, what you desire it to be, and make sure that camper is going to fit. And one of the things we say is try to always buy your second camper first. And then the other thing we say is buy the smallest camper that fits the style that you want. You don't necessarily always need the biggest one. Sometimes the biggest one is too big. So I mean, it's just something to think about. Now, if you've had a camper before and you're looking at the trade wind or you're looking at the floor plan, you've got a better idea of what you might want. But still, spend time in it. Try to go to a store, to an Airstream store. Feel free to come to our store and spend time in it and hang out. And like I always like to try to give people time when they come and are shopping with me. I try to give them time in the camper, like, hey, you guys spend time here. I'm going to go inside. I'll get some waters, but make sure this is what you want. Like it's going to fit. Yeah. So with that said,
this one is available.
This one's available
as of right now.
That's the making of this video. We got it for stock, which is awesome. I'm surprised they even made it here and it wasn't sold. And if you're in the market for an Airstream and want to buy one from me, my contact info is down there in the description. Otherwise, subscribe. Maybe you guys are having a great week. Live riveted, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.